Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to the official launch of the highly anticipated online risk management short course. On behalf of Stellenbosch Business School Executive Development, I would like to thank you all for accepting our invite and for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us this afternoon. My name is Refiwe Peu. I'm the Director for Digital Learning. And as you can tell, we're extremely excited to finally be going live with this program. And in this session, we will be exploring the insights of risk management, the why, the what, and the how to develop an effective risk management strategy with our esteemed faculty, Vanessa Thurwell. I will furthermore be joined by my colleague, Tharisha Pillay, who is our proposal and design specialist, and the SBS online team, as well as the marketing team. Now, without wasting any time, I will move straight into the agenda where I will outline the proceedings of the session. All right, so I'm going to kickstart with a very short background about SBS Ed. For those of you who are not familiar with our internal structure, thereafter I will hand over to our faculty, Vanessa Thurwell, who will take us through the risk management insights as well as the program itself. All right, Tharisha Pillay will take us through the program learning journey, and I will then wrap up the session with application options as well as upcoming intake dates, and then we will take questions at the end of the session. We'd also appreciate it if you guys could pop your questions in the chat as we go along. Alternatively, as I've mentioned, you can save your questions till we have some time at the end for Q&A. Chanel Bowers, who's from our marketing team, will be sharing our online risk management brochure with you in the chat, amongst other things. All right. So just a brief background on Stellenbosch Business School Executive Development. For those of you who might not know, SBS Ed, together with Stellenbosch Business School, offers a suite of business-orientated leadership and management development short courses that cater to working professionals. All right. So our collaboration with experts, both academic as well as from the business realms, help us deliver solutions that are world-class and theoretically sound. I'm now going to delve into the learning modalities that are available at SBS Ed. All right, and on screen, you can see the different modalities. Think of them as platforms through which you can learn at SBS Ed, right? Starting off with face-to-face and remote, which is traditional, the blended learning, and then we also have online learning, where you learn asynchronously at your own convenience, which is how the risk management short course will be delivered. All right, and finally, we've got hybrid learning, which is a combination of the different modalities. This method is usually applicable or quite popular in our bespoke work, which I will touch on a bit later in the presentation. All right, so I will now provide you with a synopsis of what online learning looks like at SBS Ed and what sets us apart from the rest, right? So through the asynchronous method of learning, we're able to offer clients and participants a solution to the barrier of time and place through on-demand, scalable, and bespoke digital work, right? So this method of delivery addresses specific target market needs. So anybody from shift workers, retail staff, travelers, leaders that have hectic schedules, to those who work remotely and often find it quite difficult to take huge chunks of time out of their day for learning, right? So all that is required from participants who enroll onto our online courses is a dedicated 6 to 8 hours per week for self-paced learning. And we do also realize that engagement and interaction is an important part of learning, especially at this level. Thus, we've included synchronous webinars with faculty, as well as discussion forums to encourage debate. All right, so these factors will be unpacked further by Tharisha Pillay in more detail when we explore the highlights and the design of the program. All right, and now I'm pretty sure most of you, if not all of you, did not join this call to hear me speak. Thus, I would like to introduce our faculty, Vanessa Thurwell, who is a member of UMSA and a registered affiliate of the business, serving on a panel of UMSA board exam developers for CRM practitioners and CRM professional board exams. She achieved her CRM Prof designation in 2019, has worked and consulted for giants such as Alexander Forbes, amongst others, with expertise spanning over risk management, risk leadership, health, safety, and environmental risk management. Vanessa, we are extremely thankful and grateful to have you working with us on writing, designing, and delivering our online risk management short course. And I'm sure nobody wants to hear more from me. That's it from me. Thank you very much. Over to you, Vanessa.
Thank you so much, Refuwe. Yeah, it's good to be here. We've been doing a lot of work over the last couple of months, and even the previous iteration of this course that was a longer one over the last few years. So yeah, thank you, Refuwe, and good afternoon, everybody. I'm also from a bit of a drizzly Western Cape, which is fantastic. So right, today I want to just cover some of the sort of key aspects of risk management as a discipline. You're all here because you obviously have an interest in it. And I want to just chat a little bit about why we need it in our organizations, the importance of understanding the context in which we operate, that our organizations operate. And then I'll give you a bit of an overview of the course itself. So hopefully what I have to share will just whet your appetites for risk management. So just starting off with the why, some of the benefits of risk management. We want to have greater confidence when we're making key institutional decisions within our organizations. We want to be more confident of the achievement of our objectives as well. And then also creating value within our organizations through harnessing opportunities, but then also protecting the value by minimizing and mitigating our losses. Through good risk management, we want to then instill confidence of our stakeholders that we are running our organization in a responsible manner, in a proactive manner, and that we will be resilient in the face of any issues. This also helps us to have greater efficiency in our operations. We're much more clearer in our focus and prioritizing critical risks, critical processes, critical controls to manage our organization. Much more prioritized in our actions and our attention. Our financial management is improved along with that efficiency. Our organizational performance is that much more robust, and really just leading to being a resilient organization in the face of any adversity, as well as being able to harness the opportunities. From more of a crisis management and business continuity perspective, less taken by surprise. We're much more steady, we're much more confident in our growth, in our returns. We're not experiencing these issues that catch us off the back foot, really. We're much more agile as management to be able to seize the strategic opportunities. So it's not just about minimizing the losses, it's really about seizing the opportunities and harnessing the positive side as well. And then finally, also being proactive and efficient and having clarity in our objectives, which goes back to our definition of a risk in ISO 31000, which you'll become very familiar in the course, is the effect of uncertainty on our objectives. So understanding, first of all, and this is really a foundation in before we even get to starting to identify our risks, is understanding the environment in which we operate. So I want to start just with the sort of external macro environment, and I want to then touch on a couple of reports that we can use as information to back this up. But we're really trying to understand the relationship between our organization and the environment. And this can be social, regulatory, cultural, competitive, financial, the political environment, which we see a significant amount, especially in the South African context with our elections coming up. Understanding our SWOT categories, our strengths, our weaknesses, our opportunities, and our threats. And how can we start to anticipate those and manage them, that, again, we're not caught off guard. And then also, what are our key institutional drivers? What drives us as an organization from the market and the industry in which we operate? And then we need to consider both the threats as well as the opportunities, as I've reiterated already. So the World Economic Forum Global Risk Report is a very, very useful report that comes out on an annual basis. It's taken from a survey of nearly 1,500 experts across the world, academia, business, government, civil society, all responding to specific questions around the risks that they think that their organizations and their countries are facing. And the blocks on the slide really just are some of the key takeaways from the executive summary of the report, where we're looking at accelerating technological change, economic uncertainty, geopolitical tensions, unstable global order, and you've got this sort of power shift that's happening, record-breaking extreme weather and climate change, and that is affecting all of us across the globe. Cost of living pressures, increasing inflation and interest rates, and all the trickle-on effects that can have. A very key one, and we'll see it as one of the top risks, is misinformation and disinformation. And we see this with generative AI and the risk of fake news and all this artificial information that's out there. Then criminality and corruption, it's one that doesn't need a lot of explanation there. A lack of consensus and cooperation cropped up as a key theme, that we're not working together as businesses, as governments, as countries to really move forward. And then a very interesting sort of overarching theme was this multiplicity of different futures, where we've got so many different aspects and so many different contexts that to actually think about scenarios of the future there's such a diverse, or this multiplicity of these different futures. But amidst the negative, we still have hope and opportunity to rebuild trust and resilience in our organizations, as communities and as individuals. So looking into 2024, we see this ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. We've seen a lot of other global political conflicts that have been emerging, of Gaza and Israel, in North Africa as well. The very well spoken of global warming and increasing temperatures. A lot of issues where we're still trying to, organizations and countries are still trying to regain progress after the impacts of COVID. Again, that cost of living crisis, very common theme, energy price spikes, and again, the climate change as well. But let's see what the rest of the year holds for us. What is actually going to be on our canvases this year? So just to highlight some of the top 10 risks, the World Economic Forum breaks it up into 10 years, a 10-year view and a 2-year view. So the 2-year view, first of all, at the top there, and this is voted on by these nearly 1,500 experts, is misinformation and disinformation. And the report goes into a lot of detail about artificial intelligence. There's 70 odd countries globally that are having elections this year, and a lot of distortion of information that can be used as a tool to discredit other parties or spread fake news. We've then got extreme weather events in number 2, societal polarization, so the sort of powers that within society and between rich and poor as well, cyber insecurity, interstate armed conflict, and then lack of economic opportunity, inflation, involuntary migration, economic downturn, and pollution, and as the sort of lower level. But then when we move into the 10-year view, it's quite interesting to see, and the color coding is different categories, how the environmental risks have elevated. So starting to think about extreme weather events, critical changes to the Earth's systems, and we're seeing with melting ice caps and permafrost thawing, biodiversity loss and ecosystem collapse, and very much long-term sort of views, natural resource shortages. Then lower down, so going from first down to 5th place, is our misinformation and disinformation, the adverse outcomes of AI technologies, which we're starting to see the benefits as well as the adverse outcomes. So we'll have a look at, or keep track of, that risk. Involuntary migration, cyber insecurity, societal polarization and pollution. So it's quite a change with a fairly different view and much more of a focus on the environmental risks there. And now bringing it closer to home, we've got a range of countries, and a lot of you have said where you're from in the chat function, which is great. The World Economic Forum, we'll have a look at that in a moment, but just some of the common issues that we are facing within Africa, and we did have 2 registrations, one from Yemen and one from Ireland, but from an African perspective, we can all relate to these issues: our corruption, the breakdown in the education sector, infrastructure failure, unemployment, water shortages, gender-based violence, escalating food costs, and unrest, either service delivery protests, civil unrest, labor protests, and so on. And those are all issues that we can relate to within the African context. And a lot of this information we need to use it to inform our understanding of the risks that our organizations can face. So I just wanted to highlight from the World Economic Forum, at the end of the report, they have a list of 5 risks for different countries that were part of the response. And I just wanted to highlight, based on those who have registered for this webinar, within South Africa, Botswana, Ghana, Kenya, Zimbabwe, Nigeria, Malawi, and Lesotho, these 5 risks here were very common across a lot of those countries. So energy supply shortage, unemployment, economic downturn, public debt, and increasing inflation. And then a couple of similarities again to to Ireland and Yemen, but had in labor shortages there, armed conflict and state fragility. And interestingly enough, state fragility was one of our South African top 5 South African risks as well. So there's many similarities, which really highlights the collective need for managing our risks across businesses and countries. Another source of information that can be used on an annual basis, just to inform your context, mainly from a South African perspective, is the Alliance Risk Barometer. And these are all freely available documents as well. So here they highlight critical infrastructure blackouts, cyber incidents, business interruptions, so supply chain, natural catastrophes and our weather events, energy crisis, political instability and political risks, climate change. And you can start to see these common themes, reiterating these common issues. And again, this information is just very useful to highlight the context in which we operate. And then the next one is the URMSA risk report, which is also issued on an annual basis. And again, you'll see some common themes here. They, as the World Economic Forum talked about the multiplicity of different futures, the URMSA risk report referred similarly to this polycrisis, that we've got so many different crisis events that we are potentially facing, and the interrelatedness of them can lead to this failed state as South Africa. We see their failure of public infrastructure, grid failure again, illicit economic activity that we see in our, particularly in the mining and construction industry, economic collapse, digital disruption, climate change again, repeating itself there, collapse of social security systems, quite a significant risk, unemployment and political instability. The next URMSA report is currently being developed, and surveys are busy being collated, so that should be released in the next few months. So then moving internally, so we've understood our external context, and that gives us a lot of source material or sources of risk. And we really now need to understand our institution's culture and our operational structure. What are we about? What are we trying to achieve? Our resource capabilities, both from a people, system, processes, and financial capabilities. Again, then our SWOT factors, but internally, our strengths, our weaknesses, our opportunities and threats. And then also our goals and objectives, and what strategies have we got in place to achieve them. And by combining our understanding of our external and internal environments, we really should have a very good foundation of understanding ahead of now actually moving into assessing and managing our risks. Now, through this course, we endeavor to equip you with the knowledge to carry out a role as a risk manager. But some of you will be here as a manager of an organization or a business owner or an appointed risk champion, a board member, or even just an intern or a graduate that wants to learn a bit more about risk management. But we want to equip you to understand your role in managing risk. So understanding your organization's strategy and what you're aiming to achieve, understanding your stakeholders and context, identifying and assessing our risks, both existing sort of more short-term risks as well as the longer-term emerging risks, embedding risk management in your organization, no matter how large or small your organization, and then managing and adapting and becoming resilient as an organization. And then we also want to, it's easy to write your risk management policy and your framework, and we'll discuss that throughout the program. But implementing risk management has significant challenges. So we often are met with a lack of commitment and buy-in, particularly by leadership. So as a risk manager, we'll want to be implementing risk management, but we met with these issues around buy-in. If our roles and responsibilities are poorly defined, there's a big misunderstanding that as a risk manager, you are responsible to manage the risks, but you are actually a coordination role. Poor stakeholder communication, also then linking to lack of stakeholder collaboration as well and not working together. Risk management is very at the mercy of becoming a tick box exercise where we're only doing it for compliance purposes and just to make internal audit happy. And then also having a lack of continuous improvement, that we're not dynamic enough in our risk management,
they want to put it
how we're implementing risk management.
So the closest you
I
can
think
put
we
it
just
is the
need
better.
to just need to mute someone there. And yeah, so that lack of continuous improvement, and these are very common issues across our organizations and can take a lot of time and effort to correct them. And then really having a good risk culture is the golden thread that is one of the most difficult things to get right. Okay, so I want to chat a little bit about the program itself and how we've structured it. So the aim of the program, as I've mentioned already, we want to equip you with the knowledge and skills and tools to be able to carry out risk management activities, identifying, assessing, mitigating, monitoring, and within either your department or the organization as a whole. We want you to be able to contribute to implementing that strategy and ensuring that risk management is taking place in a systematic and proactive manner in your organization. And then finally, to provide you with best practices of risk management strategies and activities and processes to be able to safeguard the long-term success of your organizations in this ever-evolving, and as we've seen with the World Economic Forum and the other sources, very unpredictable business landscape. And then the learning outcomes, and each one of these is the sort of outcome for each week as we've structured the program. So we'll start off with explaining the concept of risk management and making sure that you're able to take that back to your organizations, understanding its objectives and the role in the organization. We want you to be able to outline the principles and governance requirements that underpin risk management. Now, this will be based primarily on a South African perspective, but it can be tailored, and Tharisha will touch on that later as well, for specific organizations if required. We want to make sure that you're able to apply the risk management framework as it obtains from a strategic and an operational level, apply different risk management processes, and we base this primarily on ISO 31000. It is what we feel is the most practical approach to risk management. We want you to be able to drive continual improvement in the maturity of risk management and how to build on and mature in that, what we call a roadmap of risk management. And then finally, to integrate risk management into your organization as a business enabler. We don't want risk management to be an external or additional initiative. You're an enabler and building resilience within the organization. So the actual structure of the program, and Tharisha will reiterate this in a moment, is we'll start with the introduction to risk management, then how to develop risk management, and that's your policy and your framework. We'll look at the risk management processes, as I said, primarily ISO 31000. You'll be very well versed in these by the end. And then our reporting, monitoring, review, and improvement, and the structures and requirements for that. Implementing and integration of risk management. And sorry, I've just got a small child that's got home from school. Implementing and integrating risk management in your organization, and then building a resilient organization as well. So really equipping you with those throughout the modules. And then we'll finish off with an assignment that's a practical assignment within your organization, where you are going to be conducting a risk assessment. And if you are a freelance or independent, that you're not part of a specific organization, you are more than welcome to choose an organization that interests you and conduct a risk assessment on them, but obviously provided it's publicly available information. And I really just want to see the application of what you have learned throughout the course. So yeah, the participant profile, and hopefully you fit one of these categories. It'll either be people who are pursuing a career in risk management, and we start to just give you some building blocks there. You might be a newly appointed risk manager or risk champion that you want a couple of skills to add to your toolbox. You could be established risk managers and risk officers that, you know, if it's a refresher, or maybe just to re-energize you and get that passion back for risk management. Leadership, if it's managers or exco or even board members who have to provide oversight for risk management and just want to learn a little bit more about that role. And really actually anyone who wants to manage their risks, that we're equipping you with that, because we all have risks that we need to manage, no matter what organization we're in. So that's it from me. I will now hand over to Tharisha Pillay, who will take you through the learning journey.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. Hi, everybody. I'm Tharisha Pillay. I am the digital program designer, and I worked alongside Vanessa, hook, line, and sinker to put this program together. So what I will be doing in my section is dipping into the course, showing you the highlights from the course, the nuts and the bolts of it, informed from what Vanessa has mentioned. You know, Vanessa is such a versatile and well-balanced person that has such deep passion for this topic and subject area. She's put in a lot of effort into this program. Vanessa is also one who really enjoys trail running, and we've decided to use the trail running theme throughout the program for fun engagement. So Vanessa has given us a solid deep dive into the program, into tying the practical, theoretical, and substantial elements of the program. So we've landed on a learning journey that somewhat looks like this on screen. This is a short course that spans 7 weeks. So when thinking about risk management, you may think of it being so heavy, so rich with content, but we've decided to design it in such a way that it adds a practical element as far as possible. And it's hugely relevant and applicable to industry in today's rapidly evolving and volatile landscape. You won't need to go through the 7 weeks just learning theory. We've matched every module with reflections, implementation activities, discussion topics, quizzes, and even showcasing an insightful interview that was recently recorded. This program is strongly hinged around ISO 31000, which is a global risk management guide that provides a framework, principles, and practices and processes for managing risks. You will see that each module is a week long. We iteratively release the module at the beginning of the week. Participants will have the week and weekend to complete each module before going to the next one, or before the next module is released. There is a faculty-led webinar at the halfway point of this program, which will be hosted by Vanessa, just to engage with the participants so we can have a fruitful conversation about risk management and the pertinent issues that exist in your organization. There's a risk management or risk assessment exercise in week 4 that participants need to develop. This is such a useful exercise into analyzing internal and external factors and its implications if not managed correctly. There is also a risk register that participants will need to complete in that activity. The final integrated assignment due at the end of the program really pulls the learnings from each module together. This assignment will be around conducting a risk assessment. For any organization playing in the executive development game, it's really about improving job performance, taking what you've learned and applying it into the workplace so that you have a better understanding of the organization and the journey ahead of you. So that assignment applies the theories, but also makes you go out into the workplace and gets the insights, the opinions, information to really producing a good assessment that applies to your organization. It's something that you can take back to the organization and present your findings to. So once you've completed the program, you will also be given a digital certificate. Okay, so designing this program, there was a fair bit of risk involved too. And whilst going through the content, we've somewhat learned how to dance with danger without tripping over our own caution. Nevertheless, I want to give you a purview of the nature of the course. Who is it for? The course is aimed for both individuals and organizations to empower staff with a deep understanding of risk management, framed within the context of South African legislation. So current risk managers, your officers, your risk champions, executives, people who are involved in the type of risky business, seeking knowledge and skills necessary for their roles in understanding the nuances. So the how? This is a online learning platform or program with a bit of a twist. It's predominantly online asynchronous course, which means it's self-paced learning in your own time. And we have that webinar in between. We're talking about an average of 6 to 8 notional hours a week to work through your learning content, watch those videos, complete the quizzes, engage in those discussion forums. The great thing is that you can play those 6 to 8 hours in any way you'd like to. Maybe it can be consistent of half an hour a day or everything on a Sunday afternoon. It's just left up to you. The what? We will provide you with online resources to refer to that will be on Moodle, our learning platform. We will provide you with LinkedIn Learning subscription to supplement your understanding. Great quality-led videos by Vanessa that have been embedded onto the platform. I know online learning may be quite lonesome, but we have those discussion forums to keep you connected and engaged. It's like a social media thread. Everybody gets to somewhat chip in and add in their own opinions, debate around concepts. They will also engage in a faculty-led webinar as well. Everybody's talking to each other, getting to know each other, and delving into the concepts like a flipped classroom approach. Our programs that have been designed in SBS Ed will take you through a journey sometimes so far from your comfort zone, so deep into the unknown. And that is where you'll find that you grow the most. Intellectually, of course, and just not in the belly, we hope. Okay. So here's a quick sneak peek that offers a tantalizing glimpse into the unparalleled quality of the video material hosted on Moodle. This video is of Vanessa introducing the introduction of the program.
Welcome to this module. As an introduction to risk management, we will define what risk management is and explain the aims, principles, and benefits. We will look at the different categories and levels of risk in an organization and the components that make up a risk. We will introduce you to ISO 31000, which is an international standard for risk management that guides us in its implementation. ISO 31000 refers to risk management as aiming to create and protect value and encourages an organization to ensure that risk management is dynamic, customized, and continually improves.
Thank you. The program also hosts an important interview around relatable organizational risks issues, which is quite interesting and pertinent, and the risks of AI and the use of technology. Okay, this is of Advocate Josie doing the interview with Vanessa. So without giving too much away, here are some screenshots of what our Moodle page looks like. With our commitment to excellence, every moment on our platform promises to enlighten, to inspire, and empower you on your learning quests. By the end of the risk management journey, we will all be experts at spotting potential pitfalls, whether it's dodging a rogue stapler or avoiding a sudden outbreak of office karaoke. Who knew navigating risk would be this entertaining? Over to you, Ref, showcasing intake dates and intake structures.
Well, thank you very much, Thorisha, for that detailed program design. I am now going to get into the program delivery. And on screen, you will see we have 3 options in which we as the online channel can offer the risk management program. Starting off with the open or the public cohort. This is a pre-scheduled date that is provided by the institution. And this is where participants stemming from different industries can participate in this course. This is a great method should you wish to learn from perspectives of participants external of your immediate environment, or for organizations that have 10 or less participants that wish to enroll onto the program. As you can see on the date, our first cohort for 2024 is on the 28th of May to the 16th of July. And I believe Chanel has posted application information in the chat. Alternatively, we will be sending that after the session. All right, so secondly, we've got a closed intake. And this is predominantly for organizations who have 15 or more participants who wish to do the program as is, however, on their own scheduled date. All right, so this is without the inclusion of external parties. All right, this provides organizations who wish to align the program with their current risk management strategies and furthermore add slight modifications to the program. All right, and lastly, we've got the customized or the bespoke option, very similar to the closed intake specifications, 15 or more participants, allows alignment with company strategy, as well as we're able to incorporate modifications such as adding modules from our suite of different short courses. And finally, we can also incorporate a hybrid method of delivery, all right? But then should there be somebody in the room that is interested, especially in the closed cohort or in the customized bespoke options, please do contact me directly. My email address is on the screen. I believe everybody in this room should have my email by now. Please reach out and we will schedule a collaborative session where we can co-create a fit-for-purpose solution for your organization. All right. And ladies and gentlemen, we would like to urge you to let us help you navigate the challenges linked to risk management and help your organization become risk ready and, more importantly, future fit. Again, as you see on the screen, risk management emerges not only as a fundamental pillar for organizational success, but as a transformative beacon that impacts businesses, individuals, and society as a whole. And that brings us to the end of our presentation. We hope that applications will come pouring in after today's session. Should you wish to chat privately, please do not hesitate to contact me directly. And with that said, we'd love to hear from you. We'll open the floor for questions, and anything we can't cover in the session, please pop in the chat and we will revert to you. How do I see participants? Are there any questions directed to myself, Vanessa, or Thorisha?
I see there are a couple in the chat, which I'm happy to answer initially. If you are happy for me to go ahead.
Fantastic. I think most of them are directed to you anyway.
Okay, the first one there, Yakubu, was that is risk a qualitative perception by an individual or organization or based on past event? and project it to the future. So this is very much content that we'll discuss on the course, and this is the exact example of a forum question that would be fantastic to stimulate discussion, because it really is actually a bit of both. We have the type of risk management that we are talking about in this program is a qualitative risk management. It's not, we're not looking at quantitative risk management where we are on a, you know, on a financial models and things like that. So very much a qualitative process here, because it needs to be structured across our applied across our organization. So yes, it is a perception, it's a judgment, and we do want to base it on historical information, but we are then looking into the future as the uncertainties, but base it on what's happening in our organizations and outside of our organizations, to then give us the indication of what we could actually be facing as an uncertainty. Then risk management is often industry specific. What industries do we cover? We keep this program very generic. We're dealing with private sector, public sector, different countries, different regions. So the material is structured to cover all, and your risk management processes are fairly similar across different industries, but it'll be applied differently. And that's what we'll be learning. And then again, that's where the specific detail can come in on our forum discussions and your actual assignment that's then specific to your own industry. But we do give a lot of different examples and so on. I see Ashiba, the East Africa, again, it's difficult to catch all, but that is where our discussions and your exercises can come in, that you can then focus on the East Africa context. And you've also then got different resources, like we've seen with the World Economic Forum and various others. There must be in-country risk reports and various other forums. So that's all part of the sort of discussions. Okay, we spoke about the certificate. Glad that beginners are also welcome. We all have to start somewhere. So yes, it's fantastic that we start to pitch it at a beginner introductory level. But what you put in, again, with the discussions and the interaction will be at your level. Katlego, yes, it is South African legislation as a core, just from the base of USB Ed being a South African organization, but with the tailored options, we can start to tailor that to specific pieces of legislation or different requirements. But essentially your processes are fairly internationally standard in terms of how to actually conduct risk assessments, your reporting, and so on. And then Avuyile, this is actually a very interesting question about if you can then be able to write the CRM prac or prof. So this NQF level, please confirm, Tharisha, what NQF level? We're level 8 here.
Level 7.
7, that's it. So Avuyile, the CRM prac is at a level 6 and the CRM prof is at a level 8. When we initially developed this course years ago, it was a 12-week long course. There was actually a view to maybe become a qualification that would be in line with the CRM prac, but so things worked out differently. So it will give you a very good foundation for writing that CRM prac exam. So the short answer is that, but you will still have to go and apply through UMSA, study the UMSA source material and so on to move on with that. Lovejoy, the difference between risk management and project management. Well, risk management is a discipline in itself to understand the risks in your organization, whereas project management will be obviously managing a project, but you will have risk management in projects, so understanding your project risks, but you can also establish and implement when you're implementing risk management, it is sort of a project in itself. So there's quite an interlinkage where you need to manage your project risks, so have risk management within your projects, but you can also implement risk management as a project. Can one qualify? Yeah, so USB Ed is separate from UMSA. There will be a CPD, your continuous professional development within UMSA, that you can apply for from this course, but you'll still need to go through the normal UMSA process to apply for the 2 different levels of board exam at UMSA. And is risk management the same as HIRA? HIRA, Bronwyn, is one of your types of tools that you can identify your risks. So HIRA, for those, is hazard identification and risk assessment. It's a very detailed sort of operational level of risk assessment. You would still need to have your risk management structure that is aligned to your organization strategy and so on. That whereas HIRA is a much more of a tactical or operational level of assessment tools. So it's really just one of the tools in your toolbox. RICS, I'm not sure what RICS is, Michelle. I will need to find that out, but UMSA is the Institute of Risk Management for South Africa. So like SAICA is for accountants, UMSA is for risk managers. And then the principles of risk management, this course is a redesign of the principles of risk management. So this is replacing that particular course. So yes, updated and very refreshed. It's not as old and tired as the old course. And then I'll do with the module. Oh, I'm not able to answer that with the postgrad diploma. Charles, it won't affect you. We really aren't going to be asking specific questions around South African legislation, and ISO 31000 that the course is predominantly based on is an international standard. So we might touch on King 4 or other requirements, but it certainly won't put you at any disadvantage not being South African. So we're not a legal compliance course, it's risk management processes. So, and I think that's everything that I can answer.
Thank you very much. I think everything else is course specific. I see that Chanel Bowers and Thorisha Pillay has already responded to the price question. The open course is 16.1, and that is with VAT, all right? But this information will be sent to you in the email that will follow. And I see Tanya has also asked that she has already applied, and what happens next, long and short of it. So Tanya, once we finalized your application, you will then receive login details, and obviously you'll be invited to an orientation session where we will unpack how the course basically unfolds. I'm not quite sure if there are any other questions that are in the chat that we have not yet addressed. However, we are more than happy to take questions after the session. As I mentioned earlier on, please do get in contact with myself as well as the online team with the email addresses that are provided in the chat. And we will assist you, get enrolled, or if you are interested in bespoke work, we are then able to get into a collaborative session with you. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for making time for us this afternoon. Looking forward to furthering on communication. Please enjoy your afternoon or your evening, and take care. From myself and the SBS Ed team, bon voyage.